Have you ever found yourself trying to control every detail of your life? Perhaps you've noticed that no matter how hard you try, things just don't seem to align the way you expect. The feeling of constantly fighting against the current of life can be exhausting, right? And the worst part is, the more we try to control, the further we seem to drift from what we truly want. You may have tried controlling the outcomes of your work, your relationships, or even your own happiness. The effort can feel endless, but the truth is, the more we cling to control, the less we seem to find peace. It's as if we're trying to swim upstream against a strong current. The more effort we put in, the more drained we feel. So what would happen if you let go? Imagine for a moment, what would happen if you stopped worrying so much about what could go wrong? What if, instead of tightening every little part of your life, you simply relaxed and trusted? What if you let go of the need to plan every step and allowed life to unfold in its own natural way? How would it feel to allow things to flow without the constant pressure of making it work? This is one of the core ideas in Louise Hay's work. She always reminded us that to find true inner peace, we must stop fighting life and begin trusting the process. And that trust begins with something simple yet powerful: letting go of control. When you let go, the universe begins to do its part. And it's not just about letting things happen without doing anything. It's not about giving up. It's about releasing the weight of expectations, anxiety, and fear of what could happen. Have you ever stopped to think that when you allow yourself to let go, you're also allowing the best to come your way? So why is it so difficult to let go? What keeps us from trusting life and the process more fully? The truth is, over the years, we've been conditioned to believe that control is the only way to ensure everything goes right. We've been taught that if we don't control everything, we'll fail. And this belief creates a life full of tension, stress, and frustration. However, what is often forgotten is that excessive control only creates more chaos and anxiety. Life doesn't work like a math equation that needs to be solved. It is fluid, unpredictable, and often wonderful when we let go of the tension. When we stop holding on so tightly to the outcomes we desire, we create space for something better to happen. I know it's not always easy. It can feel unsettling to let go, especially when we've been taught to control. But imagine how different your life could be if you stopped trying to control every aspect of it, instead of fighting against the flow. You would start to align yourself with it, trusting that everything is happening for a reason. Even if you can't see the whole picture yet, I invite you to reflect. What are you still trying to control that deep down you know you need to let go of? And have you ever stopped to think about it? If something resonated with you, share your thoughts in the comments. We live in a world that constantly tells us to do more, achieve more, and be more. We are conditioned to believe that success comes from effort, planning, and control. From a young age, we are taught to take charge of our lives, to be in control of our emotions, our future, and everything in between. But what if the very thing we are trying to control is what's holding us back? Imagine how often you've tried to make something work, forcing it into place, and yet it never seemed to fit. That relationship, that career goal, that idea of success you've been chasing always felt just out of reach. The harder you tried to push, the more elusive it became. Why does this happen? It happens because we are trying to control what is not meant to be controlled. In Louise Hay's teachings, she reminds us that the more we try to control, the more we are resisting the flow of life. This resistance is what leads to frustration, burnout, and a feeling of being stuck. Control, in essence, is an illusion. It gives us a false sense of security, but often leaves us feeling exhausted and disconnected from what truly matters. When we think about control, it often manifests in our desire to fix everything. We try to fix our relationships, our circumstances, and even our own happiness. But this constant fixing can be draining. We become so focused on trying to make things fit into a particular mold that we forget to step back and ask ourselves, what am I really trying to control here? And why does it feel so hard to let go? The truth is, the more we try to control, the more we disconnect from the present moment. We get caught up in worries about the future or regrets about the past. And in doing so, we lose sight of the beauty of the present. The present moment is where true power lies, but it's only accessible when we release the need to control everything around us. If you think about it, control is often rooted in fear. Fear of the unknown, fear of failure, or fear of not being good enough. It's easier to try to control the outcome than to trust the process. However, this constant grip on control only fuels the anxiety we feel and creates more obstacles in our lives. What would happen if, instead of trying to control everything, and you simply allowed life to unfold as it is? What if you trusted that, no matter how things turn out, you are exactly where you need to be? What if, instead of forcing your life to fit a predetermined plan, you let go of the need to control it and allowed it to flow with ease? This doesn't mean giving up or resigning yourself to passivity. It means trusting the process and allowing space for things to unfold naturally, without forcing them into your vision of perfection. When you stop trying to control every step, you open up the possibility for unexpected blessings and opportunities to enter your life. Now, I want to ask you, what in your life are you trying to control that you could release today? How much energy are you investing in things that aren't meant to be controlled? If this resonates with you, share your thoughts in the comments below. When we talk about letting go of control, it's essential to understand that it's not just about relaxing or giving up. It's about shifting the energy we carry within us. Everything in life is energy. Our thoughts, feelings, and actions are all vibrating at different frequencies. When we try to control every outcome, we create resistance, and that resistance becomes a block to what we truly want in life. Imagine that you're like a magnet. When you are full of anxiety, worry, and fear, that energy radiates outward, attracting more situations, people, and experiences that resonate with those feelings. You may not realize it, but your energy is constantly sending out signals to the universe, and the universe responds by bringing more of what you're feeling. Now think about how you would feel if you released that constant need for control and allowed yourself to simply trust in the process. Imagine how the energy around you would shift. Instead of being tense and fearful, you would begin to radiate calm and openness. And just like that, the universe would start responding differently. The truth is, energy follows intention. If your intention is to live a peaceful, fulfilling life, your energy must align with that intention. When you let go of control, you create the space for that energy shift to happen. You begin to attract what you truly desire, not out of desperation, but out of trust and openness. The more we focus on our fears and what could go wrong, the more we hold on to old patterns and limiting beliefs. We keep telling ourselves stories like, I can't let go because I might lose everything. Or, if I don't control this, it will all fall apart. But those are just stories. They're the ego trying to keep us in the comfort of what we know, even if it's not what's best for us. Letting go is about releasing the old stories and beliefs that no longer serve you. It's about freeing yourself from the need to predict the future and controlling every aspect of it. When you stop living in fear, you begin to live with intention. Instead of reacting out of anxiety, you start responding with wisdom and clarity. This shift in energy doesn't happen overnight, but every small step toward releasing control helps to reset your internal vibration. It's like tuning a radio station. As you let go of fear and resistance, you tune yourself into a frequency of peace, joy, and trust. And as you continue to tune in, you'll notice how the world around you begins to mirror that frequency. You'll attract more of the things that align with your new energy. Think about the last time you let go of something that had been weighing heavily on you. Maybe it was a situation you were trying to control, or a relationship that was draining your energy. How did it feel when you finally released it? You likely felt lighter, freer, and more open to new possibilities. That's the power of letting go. So, I invite you to reflect on your life right now. What is it that you need to let go of to shift your energy? What are you holding on to that's no longer serving you? If you can identify that, you're already on the path to creating the space for the life you've been longing for. And as you reflect on that, think about how it might feel to embrace the energy of release. What if, instead of holding on tightly, you trusted that the universe has your back and will bring you exactly what you need when you need it? Imagine how much more peaceful, confident, and aligned you could feel. If this resonates with you, share your thoughts in the comments. What is one thing you're ready to release today? We often find ourselves in situations where things don't go as planned. It's easy to fall into frustration when life takes unexpected turns, and it can feel like everything you've worked for is slipping through your fingers. But what if this uncertainty is not something to fear, but an invitation to trust the process of life? Trusting life's process means surrendering to the flow of events and having faith that what is meant for you will come, even if it doesn't arrive in the exact way you imagined. It's about letting go of rigid expectations and instead embracing the idea that life is unfolding exactly as it should. This shift in perspective is incredibly freeing. Think about all the times you've stressed over a decision or an outcome, only to realize later that the best possible outcome was the one you least expected. The universe, or life itself, has a way of guiding us toward what's best for us, even if we don't always understand the path. When we trust the process, we begin to see that the detours and bumps along the way are part of our growth and learning. Letting go doesn't mean being passive. It means actively choosing to trust that life is happening for you, not to you. It's understanding that not everything needs to be controlled or fixed. Often, the more we try to control, the more we push away what we desire. By releasing the need for control, we open ourselves to greater opportunities and experiences. When you trust the process, you allow space for magic to unfold. Opportunities that once seemed impossible start to manifest. Relationships that were once strained begin to heal. And you'll begin to notice that the world around you becomes softer and more cooperative. But trusting the process can be difficult. Our minds are conditioned to seek control and predict outcomes. We want to know what's coming next, and we often resist the unknown. However, in that resistance, we create tension, anxiety, and fear. The truth is, the more we try to control the unknown, the more we limit the possibilities for growth. Trusting the process is not about doing nothing. It's about acting with faith, taking inspired steps without knowing the exact outcome. It's about being present in the moment, trusting that each step you take is leading you exactly where you need to go. When you let go of the need to control every detail, life begins to support you in ways you never imagined. Ask yourself, what am I trying to control right now that might be better off surrendered to the process? What would it feel like to let go of that need for certainty and trust that everything will work out in the end? If this resonates with you, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Share in the comments how you're learning to trust the process or what you're ready to release today. One of the most powerful things you can do for yourself is release old patterns that no longer serve you. These patterns are often deeply embedded in our subconscious thing, and we might not even realize they are controlling our thoughts, behaviors, and decisions. These patterns can be shaped by past experiences, societal expectations, and sometimes even by family dynamics. Have you ever noticed how, even though you try to change, you seem to end up in the same situations, You might start a new project A or a new relationship, and everything feels great at first, but eventually, it feels like the same pattern emerges. This is because your mind is still operating under old beliefs and ways of thinking. Releasing these patterns doesn't happen overnight. It's a journey, one that requires awareness, patience, and the willingness to let go of what you've always known. The first step in breaking free is to acknowledge these patterns and their impact on your life. Without that recognition, it's difficult to release them. A key teaching from Louise Hay is the power of awareness. When we become aware of the patterns we are repeating, we can choose to stop them. The process of releasing these patterns is like peeling layers of an onion, each layer representing a belief, a fear, or a limitation we have carried with us for years. It's not always easy, but it's necessary for growth. For example, let's say you've struggled with low self-esteem for most of your life. Maybe you've always felt like you weren't good enough, or that you had to work harder than everyone else to prove your worth. These thoughts might have become so ingrained in your mind that they guide your decisions, your relationships, and even how you view your own capabilities. But when you become aware of this pattern, you can begin to change it. You can replace those old limiting beliefs with new, empowering ones. Instead of thinking, "I'm not enough," you can choose to think, "I am worthy and capable of success." The more you practice this, the more natural it becomes. Releasing old patterns also requires forgiveness. Forgiveness, not just of others, but of yourself. Many times, we hold on to old wounds, and by doing so, we keep ourselves locked in the same patterns. Forgiveness is not about excusing someone's behavior. It's about freeing yourself from the emotional grip those past experiences have on you. When we let go of old patterns, we make space for new possibilities. We begin to feel lighter. It's more open to change and more aligned with our true selves. Life becomes less about struggling against the past and more about embracing the present. The future becomes full of potential, not because it's predictable, but because we trust in our ability to navigate it with clarity and ease. So, I ask you, what patterns do you notice in your life that no longer serve you? What are you holding on to that is preventing you from stepping into the life you truly want to live? If you're ready to release these old patterns, share your thoughts in the comments. What is one thing you're ready to let go of today? One of the most significant shifts you can make in your life is to trust yourself. We often look outside ourselves for answers, approval, or guidance. But the truth is, you already have everything you need inside of you. Trusting yourself means learning to listen to your inner voice, the one that speaks softly but clearly, guiding you in the right direction. Think about a time when you had to make an important decision. Maybe you were uncertain, and you asked for advice from friends or family, seeking reassurance. While their opinions may be helpful, the final decision is yours, and deep down, you always knew the answer. That inner knowing is what we need to start trusting more. Trusting yourself doesn't mean being perfect or never making mistakes. It means having faith that even when you stumble, you are capable of getting back up and learning from the experience. It's about believing that you have the resilience and wisdom to handle whatever comes your way. Louise Hay often spoke about the importance of self-love and self-compassion in building trust in yourself. When you trust yourself, you stop second-guessing your decisions, and you stop waiting for permission from others. You realize that you are the expert of your own life, and you know what's best for you. Self-trust is also about taking responsibility for your choices, both good and bad. Instead of blaming external circumstances or other people for your challenges, you acknowledge that you are the one who is ultimately responsible for your journey. This sense of empowerment gives you the freedom to make choices that are aligned with your true self, instead of trying to please others or live up to external expectations. It's easy to get caught up in the opinions of others or let fear dictate your decisions. But when you trust yourself, you learn to filter out the noise and tune into your own inner wisdom. You become the leader of your own life, not a follower of everyone else's advice or judgments. So how do you build this trust in yourself? It starts with small steps. Start by listening to your instincts and honoring your intuition. Don't be afraid to take risks, to try new things, or to make decisions that might seem unconventional. As you practice trusting yourself, you'll notice that the fear of making the wrong choice begins to fade, replaced by the confidence that comes from knowing you can handle whatever comes your way. I invite you to reflect. How much do you trust yourself? What are some areas of your life where you can start trusting yourself more fully? If this resonates with you, share your thoughts in the comments. One of the most liberating feelings in life is when you finally release the things that have been weighing you down. Whether it's old grudges, unhelpful beliefs, or the need to control every outcome, letting go can feel like a breath of fresh air. But what does true freedom really look like? True freedom comes when we stop trying to control everything around us and start embracing the natural flow of life. It means releasing expectations, allowing life to unfold on its own, and trusting that the universe will bring exactly what we need when we need it. This kind of freedom is not about passivity. It's about actively choosing to surrender to the flow of life. It's easy to think of freedom as an absence of responsibility, but in reality, freedom comes from choosing the right things to focus on and letting go of the rest. When we hold on to things that are no longer serving us, whether it's relationships, jobs, or even old patterns of thinking, we're not really free. We're holding on to the past, keeping ourselves trapped in a cycle of resistance. True freedom means letting go of the past, the future, and all the things you think you should do. It's about being present in the moment and trusting that this moment is enough. Life doesn't have to be controlled or planned to be meaningful. In fact, the more we try to control, the less we experience the true richness of life. Consider a time when you let go of something or someone that was no longer serving you. Perhaps it was a job, a relationship, or even a belief you had about yourself. At first, it may have been difficult to let go. There may have been fear, uncertainty, and doubt. But once you released it, you probably noticed a sense of lightness, clarity, and relief. That is the feeling of freedom. Freedom is about embracing uncertainty, not fearing it. When you trust that everything is unfolding exactly as it should, you start to feel more at peace, more connected to yourself and the world around you. It's like being on a river, allowing it to carry you wherever it leads, rather than trying to swim upstream against the current. In her work, Louise Hay often emphasized the importance of releasing attachment to outcomes. When we are too attached to a specific result, we limit ourselves and the possibilities life can offer us. By letting go of attachment, we open ourselves to new experiences and growth. We stop being driven by fear and start living with a sense of trust and peace. So, I ask you, what do you need to let go of to experience true freedom? What is holding you back from embracing the natural flow of life? Sometimes, the greatest thing we can do is to release our attachment to the way we think things should be and start trusting that everything will unfold in its own perfect time. If you feel ready to let go of something in your life, share your thoughts in the comments. What are you ready to release? And how does that make you feel? The final step in your journey to emotional freedom is embracing self-trust and acceptance. For so long, we have been conditioned to look for validation and approval from others. But true freedom comes from within. It comes when we stop seeking approval and start accepting ourselves fully for who we are. Imagine living in a world where you don't need anyone's validation. You no longer feel the need to prove yourself or fit into the expectations of others. This freedom is available to all of us, but it requires us to trust ourselves fully and accept ourselves without judgment. Self-trust is often something we struggle with because we've been taught to rely on external validation. We think that the opinions of others hold more weight than our own. But the truth is, no one knows you better than you know yourself. The answers to your life's biggest questions are already within you. When you learn to trust yourself, you stop questioning every decision, every choice, and every step you take. Instead, you begin to live with a deep sense of inner peace, knowing that no matter what happens, you are capable of handling it. This trust is built on the foundation of self-acceptance, the ability to embrace every part of who you are, by including your imperfections. Self-acceptance is also about taking responsibility for your choices, both good and bad. Instead of blaming external circumstances or other people for your challenges, you acknowledge that you are the one who is ultimately responsible for your journey. This sense of empowerment gives you the freedom to make choices that are aligned with your true self. Instead of trying to please others or live up to external expectations, it's easy to get caught up in the opinions of others or let fear dictate your decisions. But when you trust yourself, you learn to filter out the noise and tune into your own inner wisdom. You become the leader of your own life, not a follower of everyone else's advice or judgments. So, how do you build this trust in yourself? It starts with small steps. Start by listening to your instincts and honoring your intuition. Don't be afraid to take risks, to try new things, or to make decisions that might seem unconventional. As you practice trusting yourself, you'll notice that the fear of making the wrong choice begins to fade, replaced by the confidence that comes from knowing you can handle whatever comes your way. I invite you to reflect. How much do you trust yourself? What are some areas of your life where you can start trusting yourself more fully? The liberation that comes from trusting and accepting yourself is profound. You no longer need to rely on external validation because you know that you are enough. You are worthy of all the good things that life has to offer, and you no longer need to prove yourself. This self-trust and acceptance will open doors to new opportunities, relationships, and experiences that align with your true essence. Now, I invite you to take a moment and reflect. What would your life look like if you fully trusted yourself and accepted who you are without needing approval from anyone else? If you're ready to step into that space of self-trust and acceptance, share your thoughts in the comments. Let us know how this message resonates with you.